Looking inside a Crumar Stratus. I've got it propped up here. This is not a Stratus keyboard. This is a Yamaha D80 keyboard, which I have pulled since forth the where'd I put them? Anyway, the bus wires. I'll show you the bus wires out of there if I can find them. What did I do with them? They were here a minute ago. Anyway, they're plastic, impregnated with carbon or something. And because of that, it created real problems. I measured 40 ohms, and I'm like, well, that should be fine. It's not fine. It's not fine because each wire, of course, goes. That's the original keyboard spring. Somebody scrapped everything off it, all the springs and everything. So we've got these wires coming onto these 3 boards here. There are 4 notes per board. There are 2 dividers per note because you have 2 ranks of sound here. You've got 2, I've taken these off the top of the old key. Movement. Oh, shoot. What did I hit? I just shocked myself. That's okay. I had a lot of static build up there. Woo! You got to see it here first, folks. The electric technician. And this has your 74LS221 oscillator over here and a top octave synth chip on it. And those boards generate the tones, the top tones, and then they're divided down. There are 2 TOSs though, and so you've got 2 different pitches, one coarse, one fine, of course, on the front panel. And so you've got a C, I think it starts C there, F sharp, and so on across the keyboard. Alright, well anyway, the way they do the triggering, it created problems because it's got a inline capacitor and then a filter over here, and you can see I've unhooked all those capacitors because that filter was making it so even after replacing that bus bar with a copper bus and putting good contact dope on it, it still was having trouble with those capacitors hooked up for some reason. I wasn't getting a sharp enough pulse to reliably trigger the envelope generators, and so especially when you'd hit one key, it wouldn't re-trigger. I guess I didn't get enough dope on that low one. I just heard that do it again. I haven't heard that since I put the dope on, but it was having occasional non-triggers with that without the dielectric grease on there. Well, anyway, there's part 1 of what we've done here. We've just modified, and I've got cheek blocks and everything. I'm building. I'm going to put a wood piece over here. I'm not quite finished here. I'm almost done. Okay, and then here is the card that we have down here out of a trilogy. Also the same card. Just had to swap one in because for some reason the blues here. The envelope generator was sometimes latching up. I don't know why it was latching up. Blue's here. I'm just filming a video here, but we'll continue this in a moment. And let's see. Well, yeah, there's going to be my cool custom piece for that. I got a wood box. This keyboard was actually slightly narrower, the Yamaha D80, so nothing was easy. Nothing was easy on this thing. But hey, we've got it all working right. There were quite a few connections underneath on the motherboard that started breaking. I keep putting it in and something else would fail. And so traces that were coming near to connecting but not quite underneath there. Took out the VCF LFO bus, and now those are working. The VCA went down next, and then the general one, that one, the preset one up here. Anyway, yeah, everything's working now. Okay, so anyway, yeah, we've moved these boards back onto mounts here that hold them off those boards, which are suspended under here with now rubber strip that keeps it from hitting the back of this keyboard where it potentially could. And yeah, this keyboard is nice. Got its own, got a little plastic or styro cover under there, as you can see, going over the key contacts. That thing's sliding back. Let's get down there for now. Anyway, and so this thing, yeah, it has, these are buffers for the, like the VCF LFO and what had come in there. Yeah, 7 out, that's the VCF LFO, I think. 1 out, and 7 is the I can't remember now. It was all there a minute ago. Spock. I need to connect your brain so I can think. Okay. Anyway, we've got a nice mounting here where this piece of wood here is screwed into by this one, which is screwed into there. So we've built an over, back, and then a screw comes out of here that has a plastic on it to where it rides in there so it won't rattle against the metal on metal. And those hinge clips, you can pull the keyboard forward and out if you have to, but it's a bit gangly to work on now, but it is doable. I had to change one of the capacitors, in fact, because one of the notes, that one, had a leaky capacitor. Now, when you hit a note here, I was saying before I got interrupted earlier, when you hit a note, what happens is you've got 3 junction with 3 different diodes, that is, coming from your point where the 6.2 volts, or now, actually raise that slightly, it doesn't hurt anything, 6.8 volts, to make it trigger more regularly before when I was trying to get the other keyboard to work, and that did help, but anyway, it doesn't hurt anything. It's only a half a volt there coming into it. And so you've got a junction where when you hit the key contact, 6.2 volts on the Stratus, normal Stratus, comes to a junction with 3 diodes. One of them charges up a capacitor, and that capacitor is underneath here on your TDA 1008 chips in input, where it opens the channel and the sound begins coming out there on the divider. It opens that particular portal. So it has a preset release envelope. When you raise the key, the capacitor lets that drop gradually and it kills that signal gradually. It just doesn't sound quite as good. It has kind of a rough sound because it's doing like the transistor arrays. I think it just is cut on like an ARP or whatever. It just cuts off the wave shape, and so it changes the wave shape as it goes down and truncates it. And so that isn't what you hear generally, because they made that envelope longer than it needs to be. They made it 10-second decay time. 4.7 microfarad times a 2.2 meg resistor is the 10-second-ish kind of decay factor there. And so you've got that going on. Then another one branches just to the gate. A diode goes straight to the gate input of the VCA and tells the VCA how long you are holding it open. And when you release that, your release envelope segment kicks in on the VCA, obviously. The VCA start is, on the 3310, is the trigger input, which is the other branch, and it just goes through a capacitor network. And then I actually lifted these filters that go to ground because it was just triggering more reliably, and I probably should put some caps that are smaller in there to just deglitch it. But as it turned out, putting the bus bar with the nice we're getting 100% trigger now, pretty much. It's plenty good. I think if you hit it really soft, sometimes you can get it to false trigger, but generally it works great. It'll wear in with time, I'm sure. Putting that dielectric grease pretty much fixed it. And so now when you go with let's see. Oh, I'm so tired of working on this thing, I can't even think. We were talking about the, I actually got lost. I'm really tired. This thing has exhausted me the last couple of nights. I've been up till like 5, and I'm thinking, I'm almost done, and it just hits me with something else. Oh, the last thing, yeah, well, we had 2 channels that were sporadic. I would hit the other note, and sometimes it would just sustain. It would latch up the chip, and it turned out I just put other CEM 3310s in, and it worked fine. So there's something funny about those CEM 3310s on some of them. They work most of the time, but with this type of trigger situation, they can glitch up. Probably if you had a 555 timer chip triggering them, it would work fine. If you had just a fixed pulse coming out of a 555, they'd work fine. So I'll save those chips since they're so expensive, but there's something about those particular 2 that made it so they would not work in this circuit. Of course, the capacitor leaked, I was saying, underneath there, which caused a early decay, so that you could hear this decaying with the kind of rugged decay before the nice smooth decay from the CEM 3310 would take it out on a long decay. So that was no good, and we got that replaced, and the rest of them look like they were good ESR, so it was just a fluky one. Pretty good group of tantalums in these, I think. I haven't seen these fail like in most other since the older age. Those tantalums were horribly unreliable in the ARP Omni, and in early combo organs, the Crumar organizer. Anyway, a lot of issues there. So, yeah, they seem to be pretty good. Just a row of them going across on all these. I was saying, yeah, you got your notes, 4 per card, and 2 dividers per note. So there's 8 dividers per card, 24 total divider chips. And then what else is interesting about this thing? So when a group C or F sharp, you hear it re-trigger the C there because those are grouped to the same card again, and then these are grouped, and these are grouped, those are grouped, and there's group 6. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cards. So you're triggering these outer wires, or the outer pair of wires on these contacts on the trigger on the very outside, and the gate is next in, and then the signal is the next in. So, and then the middle is your grounds. So that's how those 3 connectors are. It's the pair for this one, the pair for that one, and the pair for that one, 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 and your gate and trigger. So that's how those come in. So it's pretty easy to see what's going on if you know where everything is in this thing. And hopefully I'll update my webpage a little bit with all the information I've gathered here, and think of anything else that's useful. Of course, trilogy schematics are useful somewhat, but these are identical, I think. But for instance, this one is off a pin for this or that. J2 has different pins for what is what. I think pin 7 is the VCF cutoff bus coming in. It's actually just the middle on this thing. There is no bus because it doesn't need it, because there is no memory. There's no switching between presets. On the Trilogy, you've got all the presets with alternate potentiometers under the hood, and you can set them however you want them. Under there, for the 8 presets, or the 1 preset is the front. They are all identical. It's just that you have moving pots on the front for 1, and the rest of them are underneath. Okay, and then yeah, I got to get my Trilogy in and figure out why the BBDs aren't working on the string machine next. Well, probably not next. I've had it with working on these for a little while. I'm going to give it a rest. Yeah, maybe really quickly just make a few sounds with it, huh? I mean, it's just like the Trilogy, except it doesn't have that string section in the way, and just go down further. There we go. Looks a little better that way. Seems to be making a little scratch. I gotta clean that one a little, I guess. I don't know why that's scratching. Oh, we still gotta hook one ground up, I think, too. That will help. So I got the octave shifter going there. One real interesting thing you can do is you can capture waveforms, you know, on this thing. When you hit that sync button, whatever you have it set to, wherever the waveform is, you can watch it on your scope, and it traps that waveform. So you can get a lot of different, essentially infinite number of waveforms there. They're subtly different. You only hear them through the filter being turned up usually. But very groovy little keyboard for what it is. And then you turn the organ up and you get that in there. So yeah, pretty neat. Yeah, definitely some very organic sounds possible. And cool. Sounds like an Alice in Wonderland sound or something. And then the glide, of course, you can speed up means slower. Amount up means amount up. And the different directions you can do, which up or down on these two are up, down, and these are down to up, I think. And I can't remember what the variation is there. And then of course you got your alternating waveforms and alternate saw square and or mix those hummers, and multi or single triggering on all that stuff. Low frequency oscillator and those kind of handy. The reset is mono or multi. Keep that on mono, and it doesn't jog the position on it when you hit another note out of time. Okay, yeah, that's pretty much the instrument. Have fun if you get one of those. Did a bit of touch-up on this one, and it came out sort of okay. I actually scrawled in those numbers. They weren't there. Pretty good. Scrolling fairly decent as long as you don't have light glancing off it the wrong direction. That thing was all hashed there, too. But it's all functional and decent enough now, and that whole thing is one piece now. I put angle brackets underneath and then attach this one into the side via actual nut and 1032 screw. This one, on the other hand, and there's that and a metal bracket going under it. And on this one, how did I hold this one? To think back of what I did. Anyway, it's it's screwed in from the bottom because there's a board that goes underneath. It's part of the hinge system here. So this is a high quality. This is a high quality D80 organ keyboard here from Yamaha. So this is a fantastic playing unit now, and one of a kind. I've took all these boards and stood them up on standoffs here, so that everything will fit right. Look at that. So now I screw it in and it'll wind up here. I gotta rebore those a little bit, but put the panel screws in so that they will fit together right. And then of course everything, I've got these side pieces that go in so that this whole thing gets filled too. So let's take a look at what it looks like when it's all back together with those in there. Just a couple screws each, and voila. Okay, Bill Rhodes is here, and he's doing a little demo on it here. Came up with a sound that sounds pretty good. I did a little bit of touch-up on that crack there, and should do one on that one. But other than that, it's all done, I think. It's got just this tiny gap here. You could put screws in there, but you don't want to tighten them down, or it'll pull everything too far forward. It's just the compromise I had to make to get the Yamaha keyboard in there. So now it is all fully functional. I put plastic under the keys so that something was going to short, otherwise it's so sandwiched in there. And one note went out and I'm like, what happened there? Oh, it's shorting. So we got a layer of plastic underneath there now. I think I got pretty good sound though for that, the thing he's doing there, eh? Yeah. Where to put my horn? Oh, there it is. Yeah, lovely. Cool. Anyway, yeah, we're going to try to get this one listed probably. Since I got the trilogy, I need to fix the string section on still. This really sounds good, though. I think this thing just is a special piece, especially that keyboard. It just plays really nice. Showing Bill how the glide works on these things. You know, it's got the slope, so it changes whether it switches in like a Poly 6 or whether it comes in gradual like a DS2 or whatever. All right. Yeah. Good enough. There you go.